Picture two people. Person A makes $150,000 a year. They drive a car that's 3 years newer than they can comfortably afford. They upgraded their apartment last spring, and they just put a vacation on a credit card they're still paying off from Christmas. Person B makes $65,000 a year. They drive a 10-year-old sedan, they've lived in the same modest apartment for 4 years, and they genuinely don't know what carrying a credit card balance feels like because they've never done it. 10 years from now, Person B will almost certainly have more money, more freedom, and far less stress than Person A. Not because they're smarter, not because they got lucky, because they're quietly following a set of rules that are, frankly, boring. And boring is exactly why they work. Every viral money tip promises something exciting, a stock about to explode, a side hustle that pays for itself in a weekend, a loophole nobody's talking about. But the people who actually end up wealthy almost never get there through excitement. They get there through 9 specific, unglamorous habits that quietly compound while everyone else chases the next exciting thing. Today, we're breaking down exactly what those 9 rules are and how to start using them this week. Here's the uncomfortable truth about money. Your brain is wired to find boring things forgettable and exciting things irresistible. That's a problem because building wealth is fundamentally a boring process. It's the same automatic transfer happening every payday for 20 years. It's the same index fund, untouched, through every market headline screaming at you to do something. It's the same modest car, driven 2 years past, when you could technically afford a nicer one. The people who get this right aren't more disciplined in some innate, mysterious way. They've figured out how to remove the decision entirely building systems, so the boring, correct choice happens automatically, without requiring willpower every single day. That's really what all 9 of these rules have in common. Each one takes a decision that would normally drain your motivation and turns it into something that just happens in the background. Let's go through them one at a time. Rule 1. The default investor rule. The idea: money should be invested by default, and spending should be the thing that requires a decision, not the other way around. Most people do this backwards. Paycheck lands, they spend on everything that feels necessary or fun that month, and whatever's left over, maybe, gets invested. Under that system, investing only happens when you're disciplined enough to remember and motivated enough to follow through, which means most months it just doesn't happen. Flip it. The moment your paycheck arrives, a fixed percentage, even something as small as 10%, moves automatically into an investment account before you ever see it in checking. Say you earn $4,000 a month. $400 leaves automatically on day 1. You're not deciding to invest every month. You already decided once, and now it just happens. People who build wealth this way often say they barely notice the money is gone because they never had the chance to plan around spending it. Rule 2. The 1-number rule. Most people track too many vague goals at once. Save more, spend less, pay off debt, invest for retirement, build an emergency fund. When everything matters a little, nothing gets real attention. Instead, pick one number that captures your overall progress, usually your savings rate, meaning the percentage of income you're putting toward your future self each month, whether that's debt payoff, investing, or savings combined. If your savings rate this year is 12%, your only job is nudging it toward 15% next year. One number is something you can actually hold in your head, check periodically, and feel motivated by, instead of juggling 5 vague goals that all blur together. Rule 3. The maintenance math rule, and it quietly saves people more money than almost anything else on this list. Before buying anything significant, a car, a house, even a boat, calculate its ongoing monthly cost of ownership, not just the price tag. A car isn't just a $400 payment. It's the payment plus insurance, plus gas, plus the maintenance bill that always shows up right when you forgot to budget for it. Often another $150, $200 a month. Once you average it out, a bigger house isn't just a bigger mortgage. It's higher property taxes, higher utility bills, and a much higher tolerance for, we should redo this room spending. Run the full monthly maintenance math before you buy, and a lot of purchases that looked affordable on the price tag suddenly look very different. Rule 4. The boring insurance rule. Nobody gets excited about insurance, which is exactly why it gets neglected and exactly why neglecting it is so dangerous. Households that stay wealthy almost always protect against catastrophic risk before chasing higher investment returns. That means appropriate health coverage, disability insurance if you'd lose income to an injury or illness, and enough liability coverage that a single accident can't unravel everything else you've built. It's not exciting to think about, but a 15-year investing plan can be wiped out in an afternoon by one uninsured catastrophe. Protect the downside first, then let the upside compound. Rule 5, the round down rule, and it's the best defense against lifestyle inflation that exists. Every time your income rises, a raise, a bonus, a new job, immediately decide what percentage of that increase goes straight to investing before your lifestyle has a chance to expand and absorb it. Say you get a 10% raise. Let your spending rise by only 4% of that and automatically route the other 6% into your investment account. Practically, you live like you're earning slightly less than you actually are, permanently, and the gap between your real income and your lived income becomes the fuel for your investing. Most people let every raise quietly get absorbed into a slightly nicer life. The round down rule makes sure at least part of every raise changes your future instead of just your present. Rule 6, the one upgrade rule. This is about pace, not elimination. Only allow one major lifestyle upgrade, a nicer car, a bigger place, a pricier hobby to happen at a time, and don't start the next one until the previous one has been comfortably absorbed into your budget for at least 6 to 12 months. The danger isn't upgrading your life. It's upgrading 5 things at once because they all became available simultaneously. The raise hit, the lease was up, a friend mentioned a new neighborhood, and suddenly spending jumps 30% in a single season instead of gradually. In a way, your savings rate can actually absorb. Rule 7, the compounding patience rule. And it explains why most people quit right before things get good. Say you invest $500 a month at a steady 8% average return. After the first 10 years, you'll have around $90,000, which, honestly, doesn't feel that impressive after a full decade of contributions. By year 20, that number is over $270,000. By year 30, it's past $680,000, even though you only ever contributed $500 a month the entire time. The growth in the back half massively outpaces growth in the front half because compounding needs a base to work with before it can really accelerate. Most people quit during that slow first stretch because it doesn't feel like it's working. Understanding this curve in advance is often the only thing that keeps people invested long enough to actually reach the part where it does. Rule 8, the skill stack rule. There's a popular idea that you need to quit your stable job and bet everything on a risky venture to build real wealth. In reality, most people who build significant wealth keep a stable income and stack one monetizable skill on top of it, something they can do on evenings or weekends that adds a second, smaller income stream without risking the first one. This isn't about working yourself into exhaustion. It's recognizing that a stable paycheck plus one well-chosen skill almost always beats an unstable paycheck riding on a single, all-or-nothing bet. The stability funds your investing rules. The skill accelerates them. Rule 9, the annual money audit rule. Once a year, and only once a year, sit down and review everything at once. Subscriptions, insurance rates, debt interest rates, and how your investments are allocated. Cancel what you don't use, negotiate, or shop around anything that's gotten more expensive than it should be, and rebalance if your investments have drifted from your plan. Doing this constantly creates anxiety and second-guessing. Doing it never lets small leaks turn into big ones. Once a year, in one sitting, is the sweet spot frequent enough to catch problems, rare enough that it never becomes a source of stress. None of these 9 rules are exciting. None of them will make a viral headline, but that's exactly the point. Wealth isn't usually built by one brilliant decision, it's built by removing decisions entirely, automating the boring choice, so it happens whether you're motivated that day or not, and giving compounding enough time and consistency to do what it does best. If you only implement one of these this week, make it Rule 1, the default investor rule. Set up that automatic transfer today, even if it's small. Every other rule on this list gets easier once that first one is already running quietly in the background. If this kind of boring but effective money strategy is useful to you, subscribe for a new video like this every week and let me know in the comments which of these 9 rules you're starting with first.